Hello, welcome to Ross Alistair Wilson. That's me. So I've got a load of different channels, and I just have to remember which channel I'm doing something for when I start it. Hello, welcome to me. My name's Ross. My channel is mainly about reviewing things, films and stuff. And I just realised, hold on a minute, I'm recently getting into my gaming again because I took a long hiatus from gaming between the ages of 16 and, well, I guess 31, where I just basically hardly played any games at all. For some reason, I just thought they were wrong and bad and evil. I remember playing Theme Hospital a few times when I was like 20, 26 or something, but I just didn't play computer games at all. I just thought there was something wrong with them. I thought that there was like, I know, something devilish about them. I got very puritanical about computer games, and I felt like they were a waste of people's lives and things like this. And so I just was barren of computer games, video games. See, I don't even know the right words to say anymore about them. But yeah, I really went off them, feeling that they're rotting people's brains and stuff like this, and they're a waste of your life and things. And what I realised was that is kind of taking on what my dad believed about computer games, and somehow that internalized into my mind. And so I just went off. It's really hot in here all of a sudden. I went off computer games for a while, and my brother carried on playing them, and people around me carried on playing them, and I just slipped out of it. I just sort of disconnected. I thought maybe part of it as well that you couldn't be an adult. It wasn't an adult thing to do. It wasn't a mature thing to do, to play computer games. It was sort of, I saw it as childish or teenagery, and I didn't want to be associated with that. I wanted to give myself this, I'm an adult person type of image, I suppose, if I think really hard about it. And also I felt like it was non-spiritual, because I'd made this spiritual identity for myself for a good number of years. And don't get me wrong, I'm still into my spirituality. My life is based around that. It comes from that place. But I realised that there was an element of closing myself off from my joys and my funds, my passions and my hobbies and my interests, because of feeling like I had to, I suppose, conform to it's more like a religious understanding of spirituality, like I create my own religious understanding of spirituality, not based on an actual religion, but it had that quality of being a bit too rigid, a bit too dogmatic about how I should apply my spirituality to my life. And I realized that all of life is an expression of spirituality. The whole of life is spiritual. Even horrible things that happen in the world are still an expression of this manifestation of consciousness. So let's embrace all the good things that we can, and try to minimize the bad things. But it's all still part of life. Everything is part of life. Everything is life. It's obvious. So, and I found myself I'm getting sweaty as hell doing this. I don't know why I suddenly got sweaty. Oh, okay. I found myself watching What Culture videos, the YouTube channel What Culture, and other loads of different video channels to do with gaming, and it was perplexing to me, because I'm like, I was thinking about it. Why am I clicking all these gaming videos? Because I don't even play games anymore. I was watching videos about gaming for ages, and not playing games, and having not played games for ages. And I was thinking, why am I doing this to myself? Or how come I'm watching all these games? And these were games that I hadn't even ever played, and couldn't foresee myself ever playing, really. So there's lists of videos with lists about, for example, really difficult boss battles in games. And I'm like, I've never played any of these games on this list, yet I'm still clicking on it. I don't even have the consoles, and I've never had the consoles, and I probably won't ever get the consoles for these games. Why am I watching these videos about gaming? I don't really. I was sort of tricking myself, or thinking to myself, that I'm not even interested in gaming. So why do I keep addictively clicking on these gaming videos for ages and ages? And then after doing that for ages, and Like I went through a kind of quite addictive phase of watching these gaming related videos. Um, I I kind of I occasionally dipped into a bit of Sonic over the years. I would dip back into a bit of Sonic on a ROM type of thing. Um, but that was like once a year, and I'd play Sonic, the new Sonic games that would come out for PS3 or PS4 or whatever. PS4, I suppose. PS4, yeah. I'd play them with my brother, like a few times a year because he lives far away from me and just wouldn't get much opportunity to play that. So we played the new Sonic Mania one. We played Sonic 4 episodes 1 and 2. Um, but other than that, that was all the gaming I did. And so I got to this point where I sort of had a revelation of like, oh my god, I've completely lost touch with this inner gamer. So, part of the whole inner child thing, I had somehow relegated that to things like being silly and having fun in life and being lovable and loving and even occasionally girly, like being the innocent, sweet little child self, and then doing like drawing and music and just having fun in life. I'd limited my understanding of what that inner child was, and I realised that a hell of a lot of my inner child, and certainly my inner teenager, is a gamer. It's a big old gamer in there. There's the inner gamer, the teenage gamer, and also the younger gamer as well. And so to reclaim my connection to my deeper self, I've bought a SNES Mini Classic. And the reason I did that one over the Mega Drive or Genesis, I quite like it being called the Genesis, even though I had it called the Mega Drive. So there's all kinds of different like little childhood stories associated with these consoles, eh? So for me, these consoles were not just about the games; they're about the friends that you played the games with, and you had to go around to their different houses. So you saw different people's like family, the way their family set up was different, their houses were different. So as a kid, different people's houses, the families there had different things. So if people of like different wealth levels had better stuff and worse stuff, and it wasn't there's not necessarily like, it didn't mean that just because the wealthy ones had the better stuff that they were the better ones to go to. Because for example, you go to someone who had less wealth and their family may have been like more relaxed about how they treat and speak to you, so it's different. So you might have better stuff in a wealthier, better stuff in terms of like technology and more things, but then you wouldn't feel very welcome there, or it would be like a bit more of a cold emotional environment. Then you go to someone who's like less wealthy and they would be more warm towards you. It's just different. So different people had different kind of cultures, because obviously we're in a, what do you call it, multi-ethnic society, so you've got different people from different cultures as well. So going to play these computer games with different people from different cultural backgrounds, like someone was from Iran, someone was from India, someone was from someone's dad spent a lot of time in Dubai, and so there's a different family dynamic than the ones I was used to. So we were just kind of learning about different people, using in a way the console as one of our things that would join us together. So yeah, it was. It's not just about the game; it was about the friend who you were with and the place you were in. And you, depending on the consoles and the games you see, because if you had a Mega Drive, you would have games for the Mega Drive, and a lot of the games you couldn't get. They're like exclusive games to the Mega Drive, so you couldn't get. A lot of the Mega Drive games did not translate across to the SNES. They weren't made. They call it ports. I found out they called a port. They didn't port across to the SNES, and so we only had, I believe, in this house, we only had the Mega Drive. So we had to go to like our friend down the road if we wanted to play. Let's start again. So we had the Mega Drive, right, with our games, Now, the guy down the road had the Mega Drive with his games, which were mostly different games to the ones that we had. So we had our games of all of the kind of ones that we liked and wanted and bought and played and whatnot. And then when we wanted to play other different types of games, you go down to his place and you play his different Mega Drive games, right? And then there was like the kid next door who had a SNES. I think he had a SNES. He must have had a SNES. No, I think they had an Amiga there. So they had an Amiga, so we could play Amiga games. Or an Atari. They had an Atari as well there, thinking about it now. And then someone else, like way down the end of this road, it's not like miles away, it's like 5 minute walk down the road. He had a SNES and an NES. So that was something that like no one else had. The older NES one. And the SNES with a lot of different games on it as well. Not on it, but for it. So like you go to his house and you can play the older stuff and the new SNES games. And then there was some other guy who had like some other games over there, but he wasn't very happy to let you come in and play on it, which was annoying because he had some really good games that no one else had. And it's like, he would only let you go in there like every now and again and play with them, whatever. And he was slightly older as well. I don't know why. Why won't you let me in, you weird? He lived over there. What happened to you? Why didn't you let us in, you bastard? So it was a whole like little gaming adventure. It wasn't just right. Well, we've got the NES, the SNES, and the Mega Drive all here. It was like you go to these different people's houses and you play with them, like your friend there, and you play those games with that friend, and then you might even go with like other friends to that house and go and play. Do you know what I mean? So it's more of a community of like little kids all playing different games at different people's houses. And the kid round the corner there, when it came to it, he had the Master System, so he had the Master System, so you could only play the older kind of Master System games, a Sega Master System, with that guy around his house. So you'd be like, okay, so he's got the SNES with some good games that he won't fucking let us play. He's got the NES and the SNES with all the cool games, and Duck Hunt, bang, on that with the gun, wicked. And then and this one, closer guy, I'll just put it there. This one had the Mega Drive, but with a load of different games that we didn't have here. And he also had PC games later on that we didn't have, but we ended up buying anyway. And then and he had the Master System. So, and the people next door, he had the Master System all the way around there, and the one next door had the Atari and maybe an Amiga as well, as I say. So it's like, as a community of kids around the block, we all had like everything pretty much, and you just would go to different places to play different games. So that was cool. And then later on, the kid round there got the N64, and we didn't have the N64. We had the PlayStation. But by that time, like, our friendships with the other people had changed because we just kind of broken up with them. You know, when kids have beef with each other. Yes, we weren't friends with a few of them anymore, and one of them had moved away and stuff like this. So you just kind of, friendships fizzle out, don't they, as they get older. You go to different schools and stuff, and things will change as you go through puberty, and you just make different associations from different places. But yeah, so the whole gaming thing was really much more than just, it wasn't an isolated thing, it was a community feeling thing. It was a thing you did with other people, friends, and a geographical thing as well, going to different places and kind of experiencing different family environments and different people's way of living was really cool at the same time, because it was nice to go to somewhere else and just be in a different environment than to be at home and just be in the same environment all the time. So you got to go out and see these different people's houses and like play different games and stuff. And I'm not trying to say that was all I ever did as a kid. Obviously, we were doing things like water fights and playing hide and seek and all other different kinds of games on the street, like cricket on the street, tennis on the street. We did skateboarding as well. We'd play like 51 Bunker, which is basically a tag type of game. We played British Bulldog, which is like a kind of run from one side of a garden to another and don't get caught by the person in the middle. Piggy in the middle, stuff like this, catch throwing games, all kinds of different games. Football. Never played rugby actually, not really. I don't think we had enough people to play rugby, but you can play football between two people, can't you? Yeah. So what do we do? So yeah, I'm just saying that it wasn't just all about sitting in a room playing games, but that was a big part of it as well. So I got the SNES because the reason why I got the SNES is because we never had the SNES. Like, we always had to go somewhere else to get the fucking SNES games, which in a way I feel like, and I know as well, I know the Mega Drive really, really well because like that was the one that I was brought up with. So I got the SNES this time round to make up for the fact that I never had it. Not that I couldn't have it. I mean, sure, if I'd like asked for it for Christmas or saved up for my birthday, I mean, saved up money and stuff from pocket money, that I could have got it, that we could have got it here when I was a kid, but just don't know. I suppose we didn't need to because everyone else had them. Other people had them around. Yeah, so I got the SNES for the reason of wanting, I want that one now. Yeah, and I will probably get the Mega Drive one as well, but I still feel like I already have absorbed a lot of Mega Drive ness already. I've already absorbed the Mega Drive ness into my system, and I know that very well. But the SNES is one that I could only see if I could be bothered to go around to the other person's house and knock on their door and say, is blah blah in? Yeah, can I come in? Is blah blah there? Can we play computer games or whatever? You know, like, you know how kids do. I don't know if kids still do that anymore, but we used to knock on each other's doors. There was no phones and technology like that. There were phones, there weren't mobile phones, so you could ring up. So usually you would either like ring them up, but I wouldn't like ringing people up as a kid because you get the parent and you have to say, is blah, can I speak to blah blah please? And they would say, oh, he's out or he's having his dinner, or he's not available, like he's at school, or I don't know, he's ill or something, whatever. Yeah, but so you could call them up and say, are they in, or you could just like knock on their fucking door and like crack on and play computer games or play outdoor games, whatever you want to do. And I don't think that happens. Maybe that does happen in some places, but I don't see it as much in this area as it used to. It could just be because the demographics of this area have changed in terms of like people have just got older in the area. But I don't know. I'd like to know that actually, if kids still do actually just knock on each other's doors and like actually just play together. It feels like people spend a lot of time isolated and inside, unless they're doing something that's like a community type of thing based around school or a club or whatever. But yeah, it was a good vibe. That it felt slightly safer than it does now, I suppose. To just kind of be roaming around as a child on the streets. It didn't feel like we didn't have paedophiles on every corner like we feel we do these days. It's probably the same amount of paedophiles that existed then as there do now, but it's just we're so heightened awareness about paedophilia, sorry, that it feels like the whole the feeling for children is much more. Everyone's scared and trying to protect children from danger much more than they ever were before. It was just a shame because it limits children's freedom to enjoy themselves and play games with each other and like, you know, play about on the street and be outdoors with limited supervision, because it's like we don't feel like it's safe for children to be out and about without much supervision. Justified or not, I don't know. But I know that the one thing that comes out of it is that it feels a little bit more like children are being shut away more than in the past, which I'm glad I'm past that phase now, because if I was a kid today, I suppose I wouldn't know what it is to feel more free. Anyway, so so I bought the SNES. Anyway, I bought the SNES this time around. The SNES Mini Classic with the 20+1 games on it, which is just 21 games. But you have to unlock Star Fox 2 by completing the first level on Star Fox 1, which I still haven't done yet. It's quite hard. It's hard, man. The first time I played Star Fox ever, actually, because I'd never played it before. See, this is why I got the SNES, because a lot of the Mega Drive games, I don't know, I just feel like the SNES is a whole different world. It's a whole different thing. Like the pictures are different, the colours are different and stuff, and the music is different. It's all different, and it's got certain SNES. They've all got a certain SNES feel to them, as opposed to the Mega Drive, which all have a sort of Mega Drivey feel to them, even though you could say they're similar because they're 16-bit consoles and they both can't do certain things that the other consoles that came after can, but they're obviously similar, but the feeling of them is very, very different. Like the SNES ones all feel slightly more cartoony, I suppose, cartoonified, colourfully childish, cartoonified. And then the Mega Drive games, they are, I suppose, cartoony in a way, but there's a sense of something slightly more mature about them somehow, or more gritty. I don't know how to describe that, because then again, you've got games like Sonic. It depends on the game, obviously, but there's a difference in how each game looks on each system because of the ways that the different like color palettes work and the ways that the graphics processing works and stuff like this. So you can tell you've got the Mega Drive games, and they have this kind of overall tone and texture to them. Then you've got the SNES games, which have a different tone and texture to them overall. So it's just interesting and I feel nice and good to get involved with the SNES reality as opposed to the Mega Drive reality. And I will crack on with the Mega Drive reality at some point again, because that's the one I grew up with, really. That's the home base, that's the home territory, and I feel I need to get that to feel complete in life, because the two things were kind of like you only really owned one or the other. Like the Mega Drive guy down the road here, this Nero guy, the geography of my locale, he didn't own a SNES, and the SNES owner guys, the SNES owner guy here in the NES and the SNES down, like way down the road there, he didn't own a Mega Drive either, because it was more like you're one or the other, like you're a Nintendo person or you're a Sega person, and we were Sega people at that time anyway. Not to say that we didn't enjoy the other ones, but you could only own one. You could only own one from one company, as in you could only own one company's stuff. You couldn't own like a Mega Drive and a Nintendo. Maybe you could, obviously, but it just wasn't done that we knew of anyway. I'm sure people did it all the time everywhere else, but like for us, it was you're this one or that one. And if you want to have, like, if you're a Sega person and you want to go and play on a Nintendo system, you have to go somewhere and do it. You can't have both. You're not allowed it, because it's rude. Yeah. So so what's this video about, really? Well, I'm just kind of excited, I suppose, to be playing my SNES. At the moment, everything's fucking hard as well. Why are they so hard? These games are so hard. They weren't this hard. Okay, and this is one of the original ideas that inspired why I wanted to do a video about this. There's a picture of me as a kid, right, holding up this Echo the Dolphin game, and I'm like 5 years old or something. I have this stupid bowl cut haircut, which is just silly, but everyone had that kind of silliness to their hairstyle at the time, although mine was more silly than the others, to be fair. Yeah, and there's this picture of me as a kid holding this Echo the Dolphin game, because I'm so excited that I've got this Echo the Dolphin game, and it's at Christmas time, right? And I've just got this game as a Christmas present. And in the picture, I look so happy, and I remember like why I was happy, because it was this awesome game. It had been marketed to me as an awesome game, from adverts and stuff, and picture adverts and TV adverts and stuff. And so there was a buzz around it, and I was so happy, and I'm sat there with this game looking so happy, like genuinely happy that I've got this fucking game, and I've got all my family around me as well, so it's a kind of emotional shot, because my granddad, who's in there, died ages ago now, but you know, it's one of those pictures where all the original family members of my family who were present when I was alive, when I was born, everyone's there. Well, everyone who would have been there was there, as in, not everyone in my family was in that picture, all right, but there was like a, back when my family was my family, before people started dying and their relationships started breaking up, like before my mum and dad divorced, before both my granddads died, you know, it's that era of my life. So the real childhood feeling about it all. And I've got this game, it's a stupid fucking Echo the Dolphin game. And why do I call it stupid? Because I was so happy in that little picture, like, yay! And you play Echo the Dolphin, and if you've played it, it gets hard. It gets hard. And I didn't find it particularly fun. Like, you know, you're having to battle these octopus monsters and stuff, and swim around, and like, I don't know, it just, such a disappointment, because I was so happy in that picture, and I'm like, such a, like, yay, I've got this game. And partly my feeling about the picture is, well, don't get so excited about stupid games for a start, but I'm a kid, so, you know, it was a product of how games were marketed, and the excitement around them was all really bigged up. So in a way, I feel a bit angry at that, but I think it's just because I was just a kid and I was just happy to get the present and the game, and then completely disappointed by the actual thing, and it sucks, and I hate that. That's like one of those experiences of life suddenly turning shit on you, you know? Fucking Echo the Dolphin. Oh man. And I'm so happy in that fucking picture with the game. And little does that kid know, he does not know what is waiting in store for him. You know, life turns shit, that you know, and it's all summarised in Echo the Dolphin. that's the truth of life, is Echo the Dolphin. You know, you start off in life thinking life's going to be amazing and great and fun and all these opportunities to enjoy yourself. And then a fucking dolphin game comes along with octopuses and squids and orcas and the opportunity to run out of air all the fucking time, and not knowing where you're supposed to go either in the game. Like, on Sonic, it's clear from left to right, left to right. On Echo the Dolphin, you're like, left to right, maybe, but swimming down and up and through into caves, and I don't know when I'm going to get air. It's like, what? The game should not be allowed for young children. It's too disappointing. It's too hard. It's too hard. And I feel for the little kid. I feel for that little boy holding his happy little game to the camera. Yay! So if you're the camera now, I got Echo the Dolphin, and then like a few weeks later, I'm just like, I hate that game. I hate that game. It ruined my life. It's the biggest disappointment game. Like, why would I ever want to play that game again? I can't complete it. It's too hard. I never completed that game. Fuck that game, man. Kept getting stuck. It doesn't tell you where to go. Yeah, so there's a bit of feeling about my childhood. What a weird noise. Thanks for watching. The truth of life, as summarised through gamings.